Athletes, friends, and fans around the world, it's time for another Primetime Muscle. Welcome aboard. I'm Tim Wilkins. As always, joined by the one and only Tarek El-Guindy, looking scholarly, my friend.
Thank you so much. I got my best tie. I consider this to be my best tie, and I can see you have your best tie as well.
Is that the grandfather tie?
I have one of my best.
This is not, no, this is Brooks Brothers, okay? Very nice, Brooks Brothers. So I don't have the kind of funds that Chris Cormier has, but I try to dress with class.
I'm going to say, by looking at Chris's hat and the shoes, gracious.
You peeping it? It's close, not dead on. You got the LB in black print, and you got the LB in white print, so it's not the exact same. Don't kill me out there, fashion police.
As your middle anchor and your financial advisor, I would say if your kids don't have a college fund, start there before the Louis Vuitton shoes, and then you get to Chris's place in life where you're just an OG legend. You can drip away, baby.
They make a lot of money in college these days. That's a whole.
Oh, the NIL,
business.
yes,
a whole other business.
Yeah, but do you think they're sharing that with their parents?
Yeah, they just
just bought his mom a house.
Yeah, no, his dad.
Oh no, the Sanders boys.
Sanders boys bought their father a house. All three of them.
Shadur,
Shadur,
Tupac, and
whatever their name. Those
Congratulations,
guys.
Very cool.
Those brothers.
So now that we live in Chris's drip shadow, we got a fun show today. We're talking about one of the absolute favorites in the sport. Nick Walker got injured the day or two before the Olympia, tore that hamstring, tried to work it out, actually had to watch it from a wheelchair in the audience, and was back to a pretty good training strength about 6 to 8 weeks later. And then it comes down to, all right, what is Nick going to do this year to make his way back to the Mr. Olympia?
Well, I want to go back to the Olympia because it was Monday. I was having dinner in Orlando, and I said, man, the Olympia is great, the excitement is great. When guys like Nick Walker hit the stage, the audience goes crazy. Tuesday morning comes, and we find out he's not going to be competing, pictures of him injured. I remember I did a quick recap with Bob Ciccarello at the lobby of the hotel, and the fans, man, commenting, they were depressed. And for a moment there, you could tell even other competitors had a somber attitude, because that's the worst for a competitor, to diet, to prepare yourself for the big game, and then not be able to participate. He was at Meet the Olympians, and he was there in a wheelchair, and I came to talk to him, and obviously he could tell everybody was sad, but he had a positive attitude. He didn't defeat himself. And it was brilliant to see him supporting the other competitors, being at Meet the Olympias, meeting the fans. I mean, nobody would have blamed Nick Walker to stay at his hotel, right? Trying to recover or psychologically trying to get better. The guy got in a wheelchair and went there to meet thousands of fans. And that's why he is the most popular bodybuilder we have.
Hey, Chris, you know the heartache. You saw it. You heard it in his voice. What would that have been like? Did you ever have a show where you got right up to the end and then had to get out?
Yes, Tim, yes. And I know the feeling, and I know exactly how he felt, because 1999, I took third place for the first time. The next year, I'm getting ready for the 2000 Olympia. I was in shape. I was 282 pounds. Abs in, just got exposed in Mexico City, where I had a seizure that night. After the last episode, I had like 8 appearances in a short time period, and training, everything was on point. Boom. One of the most promising years for me was going to be that year, because Ronnie was off, and that was probably my year to win the big thing, the big show. For me, year 2000, Ronnie was off in that show, and if I would have improved like I know I would have improved coming from 99, I think I could have won the title. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I know him watching that show, you have tears in your eyes watching those guys get the placing that you probably thought you could have placed. He possibly thought he could have won, and I'm sure in his mind he think he would have won that show. And to be in a wheelchair watching that, I know exactly how he felt. I spoke to him numerous of times since the show till now. We keep in touch, and you know, and he is a Leo. I don't know if you guys know that.
We did not know that, Chris.
Here we go with the signs.
He's a Leo.
Hey, come on.
So, all right, guys, you want to talk about a guy that one of the reasons we were so excited to see him last year was the improvements over the year and dialing down that waist and getting that V taper and getting the streamline going. He made huge improvements, and these are improvements upon those improvements.
Well, Tim, I said it before, I say it again. I believe Nick Walker would have been fighting for the title in 2023. He would have been fighting against, on that first call out, with Derek Lunsford, Hadi Chupin, and Samson Dauda. We were just talking about density. Are you kidding me? This guy is the king of density. We were just talking about separation on the hamstrings. He's got it. He's got big legs. We were critical of Nick Walker. We said, hey, your waist is not small. You need to get your waist small. Look at that waist right now. He's got the legs. Look at the density on that side triceps. Tim, Chris, I'm sick and tired of people disregarding Nick Walker. Nick Walker is one of the best bodybuilders in the world. He already won the New York Pro, the Arnold Classic, and he could very well win the Mr. Olympia.
Chris?
I call him Nick the Thick. Nick the Thick Walker. Now, he has all these attributes that Tarek spoke of. You know, the separation is great, the density is off the charts, and, you know, some would have said at that last Olympia, he would have exposed all the top 3 guys because he had that same look all over his body when other guys in the top 3 had, you know, parts that were great, some parts that were not, and he would have been that equalizer. But him, I know you guys balk at it, but he is a Leo, and I said, one of the last times I spoke to him on the phone, I said, Nick, I would never downgrade anything that you might be able to accomplish in your life because I know you have heart, and I know you're showing you have heart. And I don't think there's a lot of guys that bodybuild 100% of the time. If I would have bodybuild 100% of the time, I guarantee you I would have had a different look. But this guy's like this, and they make, you know, gestures like, oh, he's too lean in the off season. He's eating like a bodybuilder 100% of the time. Someone who's bought into the fact that he wants to be his absolute best, and he is one guy that's going to show you every time he competes, he's going to get better.
There are differing schools of thought, but I am getting more and more of the mindset that you want to stay somewhere close to striking distance of your on-stage weight. These guys going up 50 and down 35 to get to stage, it's brutal on your body.
Not the way to bodybuild.
Not the way to bodybuild. But now, Chris, one of the things you talk about a lot is low lat attachments, how they're all so high. His are connected to his glutes. I mean, that is, look where those things start and where he starts his flare.
And that's that separation right there. A lot of guys don't come to competition with that. That's him just chilling at home with this look year round. So if you don't come into competition like this guy is year round, you know you're not going to fare well when you go to compete against him.
And Tarek, we talk about Christmas trees. That looks like something you could fill with cookie dough and make Christmas cookies. That is the depth. Look at the depth. You could just make molds in there.
Well, you know, obviously we're speculating here, but in 2022, he won the side chest at the Mr. Olympia. He placed 3rd. He beat Derek Lunsford and Hadi Chupin on the side chest. I don't think his side chest got worse. On the contrary, I think he got better. Looking at his front double biceps, one of the things that we were critical at the Arnold, we said you came too conditioned and you missed some of the leg sweep. Look at the leg sweep right here. Obviously, we're speculating. These are pictures combined with the small waist. We were talking about Hadi Chupin, could have been tighter from the back. Samson Dauda could have been tighter from the back. And I talked to Chris about this, and Chris assured me, Tarek, if he looked like this off stage a couple weeks after, he would have been shredded, right? Now, we talked about the density on the side, the density that maybe Samson Dauda needs to beat Derek Lunsford and Hadi Chupin, the density that we're lacking with Andrew Jett. Who has it? Nick Walker. Nick Walker is one of those guys that can win the Mr. Olympia. I keep telling you people, he can win the Mr. Olympia. He has the tools. He has the discipline to win the Mr. Olympia. Right now, we're all talking about Derek, Hadi, and Samson because they're the highest ranked Olympian competitors. But don't forget about this guy. He can come back and storm the stage and be the next Mr. Olympia.
So we're going to find out. He's got to requalify, but the New York Pro, if for some strange reason he doesn't win that, that gives him a lot of real estate and a lot of shows to qualify and get back up there and duke it out at the top.
Yes, but you know, I mean, for him to be in that class is going to be a great lineup. You got Rubiel, you got Sergio Oliva, all these guys vying for the title there. That's going to be a knockdown, drag out, top three right there. New York's finest.
Another guy that made a lot of improvements last year. We're going to see what this year has in store for him. Over there at the Win the Day gym in Houston, Texas, we're going to check in with Hunter Labrada when we come back and see what he's got going on and make some predictions for his upcoming season. And we're back, and we're talking about another one of the favorites across all of bodybuilding, Hunter Labrada. And he's made some big improvements over the last couple years. Tarek, last year was a big year. I was emceeing the Lee Labrada Classic. Hunter, of course, guest posing. I think Lee probably got a deal on that. And he came out and had dialed his waist in a lot and put a lot of thickness on his back.
Hunter Labrada had a very disappointing 2022 Mr. Olympia. He was the first one to say, hey, I wasn't at my best, I'll fix it. He looked a lot better in 2023. My reservation with Hunter is, I almost want to tell Hunter, you're one of the best in the world, okay? You got a small waist, you have the mass, you can battle it out with Hunter, with Derek Lunsford, Nick Walker, and all those guys. I need to see that from Hunter. You know, I feel like Hunter sometimes is a bit shy on stage. He's a bit too conservative. I need a little bit more energy. I need him to attack some of these guys because he has the ability to do so, right? I don't like when Hunter is a bit shy, when he's posing there. I would like to see a little bit more aggression from Hunter on stage and communicate to the judges, hey, I'm just as good as these guys. Put me next to them.
Hunter owns 5 blenders and 5 microwaves in his gym. He has all the gym equipment you can ever ask for. He has a father that's highly supportive. He has a whole team of people around him, from trainers to dietitians to wife. Everyone's pushing him day after day. I mean, you can't take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. 2 steps forward, then you hit it. 3 steps back. You got to show that improvement. You got to bring that hard work. You know, it's a tough sport, but I mean, you were born in the sport. You have no reason to not be your absolute best, and have that whole team around you like that. Just show the improvements. Bring it on stage when it counts, at that prejudging, and when you finish your prejudging.
Guys, we're going to take a look at some pictures and talk about the changes to his physique he's made. But I really want to talk about, because we've talked about this with quite a few athletes, he's got to make a statement. When you get to that, you know, he's kind of at that big roadblock of those top 3 to 5 that are just so insurmountable, but you want it so bad. You got to start thinking, all right, how do I stack up? Do I stack up? And how much do I want to put my body through trying to prove this? He's got to go out there, win a couple more big shows, and chip his way a little bit farther up the Olympia roster into that top 5 and really make a big statement.
2021, Hunter Labrada was in the final call out, right? With Big Ramy. Hadi Choopan was there. Brendan Curry was there. And guess who else was there? Hunter Labrada. Guess who else was not there? Nick Walker was not there. Simpson Dauda was not there. Nick Walker and Hunter Labrada should be battling head to head. That's how good I think Hunter Labrada is. You know, he placed 6th at the Olympia. It's a really good qualification. You're talking about the greatest show on earth. I still don't think is enough for Hunter Labrada. His place is right there on the first call out, fighting for the title. He has the small waist, he has the mass, and I need posing, telling everybody, you know, he needs to pose like Nick Walker. Nick Walker is like, I'm the greatest of all times. We're okay with that. You might not be the greatest, but go in there and kick some ass.
Well, let's look at some pictures. You know what I would love to see? Get on stage. He's got to requalify anyway. Get on stage at the New York Pro with Nick and Sergio Oliva. I would love to see an Oliva and a Labrada. And maybe, hey, get Arnold's kid to qualify for something. I want to see all these famous names duking it out on one stage.
Patrick Schwarzenegger can come in on stage. Look at the size of his legs. He's got a small waist. He's got a big, you know, frontable biceps. Get right there next to Nick Walker. Come here. Hit the pose next to Nick Walker and say, hey, I'm one of the best in the world. Look at the hanging hamstrings. We were talking about Andrew Jack not having the hanging hamstrings. Look at Hunter Labrada right here. Can he be more conditioned? Yes. Let's work on that. Come in as shredded as you were in 2021 and get to that first call out.
But at different times, you saw improvement. You saw the back improvement. You saw he brought the conditioning. You know, sometimes you don't always bring it like that, but damn, when he hits it, he hits it. And I like how he improved the back. I like you keep working with the quads. Keeping that waist small is going to be important. And build those abs up. You got all these bells and whistles in your physique. I want to see the abs a little thicker. Also.
Well, we talk about constantly thickness across the chest. He's got that beautiful section between it from shoulder to shoulder. He's hiding that one pec, but he's learned to really pull that other one across, and he's got those nice striations and feathers starting to come across the top.
He is what I call a hybrid. He has the mass to hang out with guys like Nick Walker. He has the small waist to hang out with guys like Simpson Dauda. Guys, in 2021, the champion was Big Ramy. The second place was Brendan Curry. Then we had Hadi in third, and then we had Hunter Labrada. 3 guys that were ahead of him eventually became Mr. Olympias, right? Brendan was already a Mr. Olympia. So he was ahead of all these guys. He was ahead of Derek. He was ahead of Nick Walker and all these guys. That's where he belongs. I will tell Hunter Labrada to his face, you are the one. Believe it, because you have the physique.
You have to bring it this year. You have to bring it. No mistakes. No leaving anything undone in the physique. Make the physique complete, bring the conditioning, and get your rightful place in the sport.
Well, we want to see big things from him. We have no doubt he's got all the tools in place. He's just got to pick that show. I believe it was, what, Texas Pro? What did he qualify with last year?
He won the Tampa show, and he looked incredible, right? He looked incredible. I was like, man, this is Hunter. He went to Texas, and he had a war with Andrew Jack. He placed second. And I like the season that Hunter had. Ended up 6th at the Olympia. But I'm still a believer that Hunter, just like 2021, he can very well be in the top 4. And look, the guys that he lost in 2021, Big Ramy and Brandon, right? Big Ramy, Brandon, and Hadi. Ramy, many people are speculating he might be close to retirement. Many people speculating that Brandon might be close to, retirement. You just got Hadi there. Let's go, Hunter. This is do or die.
I don't know if his posing is as intense as someone like Andrew Jack. I know they were duking it out, had like a bunch of comparisons towards the end there in Texas. I don't know. I mean, I've seen him hit shots. Seen him in his home gym before. I just don't know how grueling his preparation in the posing was. You would think, you know, with his father being there, he would be like, yeah, you know, we need to get more posing, because when it comes down to it, when it's grueling and you're tired, but if your body's used to those type of grueling posing practices, then you're not going to affect you as much when you're on the stage at the Texas show, at the Olympia, when there's a lot more comparisons going on.
Well, Archie Manning did a pretty good job with Peyton and Eli. Lee is hands down one of the greatest to ever do the sport. I'm guessing he pushes him pretty hard and makes sure those poses are as...
But I know he steps back, because I know being the dad and being the father of the son, I think he steps back and let his, you know, the coaches coach and stuff like that. He'll say some input, but I think he
I have
stays back
a question for Chris. Chris, when I see him posing in Tampa and in Texas, I see one Hunter Labrada. When I see him at the Olympia stage, I see a different demeanor. Is that something common among the top bodybuilders in the world?
Oh yeah, because I went into a few Mr. Olympias not thinking anything about trying to be the champion, but trying to find my rightful place in the sport. I'm in the top 60. Yes, I am a top 6 competitor. You know, you try to make your moves as far as like, you can't do it all in 1 year. 1 year I'm going to start improving my chest area, my back area, something, you know, adding to the pieces to the puzzle. But your mindset is not always on winning the actual title, but getting your placement. But sometimes you're going to have to make a choice that I am going for the title. No one else is going to be in my way this year. I'm going to make the necessary improvements, and I'm going to go for the title. And this is like, it's not good enough just to be in the top 6 anymore.
Well, guys, we're excited to see Hunter. All of Primetime Muscle wants to see what you do this year and see you back on that Olympia stage. Guys, that's open. One of the biggest growing classes, hands down. You know, men's physique took off like a rocket, but thanks to Chris Bumstead and now Ramon and this other guy we want to talk about, classic physique is just exploding. And all the shows I host, the shows you judge, they're just that category keeps growing and growing. One of the absolute favorites is the Miracle Bear, and we're going to talk about him and his future and what he's got going on climbing up the ranks when we come back on Primetime Muscle.
Always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else, every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
And we're back with more Primetime Muscle. All right, guys, this guy, people just love him. The Miracle Bear, Urs Kaliczynski, brings that big smile and brings a phenomenal physique. And he's been firmly in that third place on the Mr. Olympia for the last couple of years.
Man, he's good. He's got the mass. He's got the conditioning. He poses well. He's got 2 of the best bodybuilders in the history of classic physique ahead of him, Christopher Bumstead and Ramon Dino. Are they incredible bodybuilders? Absolutely. Is it going to be tough for him to join that party? Yes, but he has to do it. I don't know how. He has to do it. He has to maybe come in tighter. He has to improve his posing. He still has space to gain in terms of muscle mass. He cannot fall behind the narrative of this is a C-Bum Ramon story. He's got to get in there and say, no, I refuse to let it happen.
Isn't he like 26, 27?
26, 27.
25.
Something like that.
But Ramon is young. Chris is young.
Well, Chris
is different young.
Chris is rich young.
Yeah, he's at the other echelon young, but you know he's closer to that 30 mark than him. He's the youngest in the sport for a classic that is that prominently segmented in the sport.
An episode ago, we just talked about, is Chris ready to retire, because he's been so smart. And you know, bodybuilders out there realize you better have a plan with bodybuilding, because you're beating the snot out of your bodies inside and out. Chris had that plan. He executed, and now he's at the point where he said, what do I want for my next step? Well, that leaves Ramon, it leaves Urs, Sommerfeld, and a couple other guys. But Urs, now when I said earlier, and you hung me out to dry with all of Brazil, you know, and I said, Ramon is not the heir apparent, because you got guys like this coming up.
Well, Tim, you not only said that, you not only said Ramon Dino is not a good bodybuilder.
Oh, I didn't say
You also said,
Obrigado.
You also said to all the German people that Urs Kalaczynski did not deserve to place third, that Brian deserved to place.
He did.
Right
He
now,
did,
you got in trouble with the Brazilian community and the German community.
No, but the German community, they understand bodybuilding. They
So the
support.
Brazilian community doesn't understand bodybuilding? That's fine, Chris.
So now we want to twist and turn that.
That's
Now you want to twist and turn
Let
what
me
I'm
just
saying.
text my translator here.
So, but you know, when you looked at him, and I'm going to stand by this, did not have the conditioning that Brian or Terrence Ruffin brought. I think that was one of those.
Behind him.
That place behind him.
I think that's I think we got to go to people like the judges and see why that happens, and is it because they're looking for what they feel they can do in the future, or is it? I mean, are we judging the show that we're looking at right now?
Well, Chris and Tim, there was a significant difference between Urs Kalaczynski, Ramon Dino, and Chris Bumstead. In 2022, he was closer to them. It looked like he maybe decreased a little bit and Ramon increased a little bit in terms of quality. So yeah, and a lot of people were saying, hey, listen, Brian and Urs is pretty tight. Maybe Brian is better than Urs. So if he placed third, maybe it was a very close one, and Brian can now start attacking Urs Kalaczynski. The bottom line is, I talked to Urs, and Urs is not happy being second. He's not happy being third or fourth. He doesn't want to be compared to Brian or Ramon. He wants a final call out with Chris Bumstead, and he wants to beat him. I'm going to put somebody here on fire right now. Bob Ciccarillo, the master of ceremony for the Mr. Olympia, he said on a live during his predictions that Urs Kalaczynski was going to be the classic physique champion, and that didn't happen. He actually said Chris Bumstead will take second, and
he said
Ramon Dino's third.
And he said Brian's fighting for sixth and seventh.
That's what he said. He said
that's what Bob said.
Bob Ciccarillo said he'll be fighting for sixth place. You know, so
that's what Bob said.
Well, let's take a look at Urs, and as always, guys, yeah. So this is this year. It's a beautiful shape, beautiful lines. Just not as hard as 2022. Maybe he put on some mass and sacrificed conditioning. And sometimes in your mind you think, I just need to be bigger.
It happens, Tim. I mean, Chris would know more about these final days, what happens to a competitor's mind. A lot of us have been saying, hey, you can put more weight, you can put more weight. Then he shows up with more weight, but he compromises the conditioning. And you are correct. His conditioning was not as good at 2022. Look at the glutes and hamstrings there. I've seen it better. How about the obliques right here? Even the midsection on this vacuum here, we usually see this a little tighter.
Let me sprinkle my expertise on this here. We have Urs, who is 25 years old. That is, as a bodybuilder, that's the most watery, most hard to judge age group to bodybuild and compete in, because when you're 22, he was hard 23. But this year is like the Mike Tyson big neck look. When Mike Tyson in a certain age group, he had that fullness. When you get a little closer to 28, you start to lose the extra water, and I think it's almost extra body fat. that you would have around the age of 25. Moving in close to 30 years old, you're going to have a different look then, a different look at 35. It would get more muscle maturity, but it's just a process of becoming a younger bodybuilder, moving up into the middle age of 25 or so, and then he'll start having newer and more developed, more mature muscles. But you still need the back double bicep, needs to improve. You still need, like right up in here, all that little clutter that could be cuts and valleys and etched out muscle. There you go.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
totally agree, and you know, he knows going in next year. I'm trying to think of how many, because he's what, 5'9", 5'10". We're gonna have him for the.
But he's taller than that.
Is he?
Yeah.
At least 5'11", huh?
Okay.
He's maybe 5'11", even 6 feet tall. Now, guys, we talked about him adding muscle. Look at the back thickness on the back double biceps. It looks like he added muscle, but he lost the conditioning, so we're not seeing the separation of that addition of muscle. So it's not only about adding muscle, but keeping your conditioning consistent so you can see the separation. Urs Kalaczynski needs to put on an answer at the Classic Physique Mr. Olympia. If he allows one more time a final call out between C-Bum and Ramon, then people will stop associating him with those guys. And then people are going to say, well, maybe Breon is better than him. He needs to join the party. In order to do that, conditioning and gradual addition of muscle.
Well, it is going to be interesting. There are a few guys. It's a very young category as far as the guys that are in it. When I look at a show, they all seem to be in that 25 to 28 range, Chris, where you said you got that variety of body fat and muscle going on. They're not like bodybuilding where you've got guys in their mid to late 30s, early 40s, the open category, and even the men's physique guys are a little bit older now. They're in that 30s and 40s range. So he's got a lot of guys that are coming up that are all finding their maturity of their muscle.
Yeah, that's why, you have Breon is 43.
Yeah.
And still battling with these young cats like that. That's pretty remarkable. I think Urs is going to be moving up. I don't know if it's this year or the next year, but you're going to see a change in his physique just by applying the pressure, intensity-wise in the gym, keeping tight on the diet in the off season, whatever. I think you're going to start to see different changes, but at that 25 area, that's what I would probably expect for him to look like.
I'm not playing Guess Your Age anymore after I had the Ashley Kaltwasser episode and Tarek hung me out to dry
Did
on that
Nico
one.
edit that to help you out?
No, I left it in. I apologize.
Nico, you edited that out, huh, Nico?
No.
He's always saving his boy, right, Chris? Always saving his boy. When it comes to us,
Hung out to dry.
yes.
There
Me,
are
I ain't standing a chance.
there are a couple other
Chance of
guys
80.
coming up. It's going to be interesting to see the improvements that Urs makes this year. There's a couple other new guys that I've seen recently coming up. One that won the Linda Murray show last year in Atlanta. I think he's out of Miami. I'll think of his name in a minute. Short, spiky hair, glasses, intense physique, just etched with a lot of the same shapes and lines as Urs. And he is about a year or 2 years away from making a big move into the top 5 if he keeps on this pace. A couple other guys just chipping away. Guys, it's going to be an interesting qualifying season. And I love the new faces that pop up. Guys that qualify somewhere for their pro card and then just shoot up the ranks.
The next star is born almost every show.
Almost every show. We're going to be keeping you updated on who qualifies and when and how this Olympia lineup is starting to progress.
Comment, questions, and
Tell us what you think about these guys' physiques and
you wanna see.
Nick, what you think he's going to do at the New York Pro, and who you think is going to be giving him a hard time.
like and
Urs.
share, subscribe.
And let us know if you agree with Tim Wilkins that Ramon Dino is not the heir apparent and that Urs Kalaczynski should have lost
Throw some dinosaurs
to
out
Breon
there.
Ansley.
Let's see
Go
your
ahead
support.
and put some dinos against Tim Wilkins.
Sta bene. Obrigado.
Over to go.
Yep. So thanks as always for joining us on Primetime Muscle. I'm Tim Wilkins. Tarek Gilgindy,
Great to be here.
the real deal, the one and only.
Real
Chris Cormier,
deal.
Louis
Doing
out.
it. Dripped out.
We look forward to seeing you on the next Primetime Muscle. Get on that Stairmaster, get on that treadmill, and join us for the next episode.
I see you.